Mayor, we are now live on YouTube.
Thank you, ma'am. I think we're all here. Let me call to order the regular meeting of the governing body. My clock says it is 5:08 p.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Romero Worth, the salute to the New Mexico flag led by Councilor Lee Garcia, and then Councilor Chavez, if you'll lead us in invocation and remembrance. Please rise as you are able.
I wanted to say a few words tonight in honor of Pride Month. So out of her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, I want to read a quote by Brené Brown. Owning your story and loving ourselves through that process is the bravest thing we'll ever do. I want to acknowledge the bravery in our community to stand up for their heart, their beliefs, how their heart loves, and how their light uniquely shines in its own beautiful way in this world that really can use a lot of light right now. I also want to acknowledge it shouldn't have to take bravery. It shouldn't have to take bravery for us to exist in our true selves. So with acknowledging those two things, I hope we can move through our work tonight confidently sharing the truth of ourselves, our knowledge, and our hearts. And I hope we can do that with no need in being brave, because it can be received with respect and in celebration of the diversity we all bring and the positive impact that diversity has on the decisions we make as a whole. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Are there remembrances tonight? Councilor Lindell.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to remember Danny Sandoval, father of Raymond Sandoval, whom all of us know. Only most of us know Danny also, because all the projects that Ray does for the city, New Year's Eve on the Plaza, 4th of July, Zozobra, Day of the Dead. Did I miss any, Randy? His dad, Danny Sandoval, was right beside him during all of those late nights, early mornings. Always a guy that was ready and willing and wanted to help. He was the guy that, oh, do you need something? We need something from Home Depot or Lowe's. He'd run and get it. Cheerful, cheerful, cheerful about it. And then when it was all over, I certainly remember one Zozobra where he sought out his son and he hugged him and he told him how proud he was of him and that he loved him. He was a first-class dad and he was also a first-class friend. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Sig. Others? I join Councilor Lindell in that sentiment. It takes a lot to give a lot, and dad and son and whole family have done that for Santa Fe for years and years and years. And my heart goes out to Ray and his family's mom, and a great deal of gratitude for all the gifts they give us. We give them back the gift of our caring and our love for their family. Let's also think about those in our community who are struggling to make ends meet, struggling with health issues, struggling to deal with life's tough problems. They're part of our family as well, and we send out our thoughts to them and our commitment to do what we can to make their lives better. So let's take a second and keep them in our thoughts. Thanks, everybody. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Counselor Cassidy is absent. Counselor Castro.
Presente.
Counselor Chavez.
Here.
Counselor Faulkner. Counselor Lee Garcia.
Here.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Present.
Counselor Lindell. Counselor Romero Worth.
I'm here and Counselor Cassidy is excused.
Mayor Weber.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, are there changes to the agenda that we need to know about this time?
There are two changes to the agenda. Sorry, there's one change to the agenda. There was a request regarding the land use appeal, which is 20A, be postponed to July 30th.
Mayor, can I ask a point of order question? How many times can one postpone? Do we have any rules around that?
Mayor and councilors, I'm not aware of any limitations on that. The appeals are supposed to be held as soon as possible. In this case, the appellant is seeking a new agent and is no longer working with the agent she was previously working with. And I think that's the reason for her request that she has told the city at least. I
Okay,
think she may have been willing to go earlier, but I think we're concerned about the length of the agenda on the 9th, right? July 9th. So that's why I think we've preferred as a recommendation, the 30th. As a conversation between land use and the clerk's office and the city attorney's office. But I don't think there's a limit. We are supposed to hold it as soon as possible. She had a change in circumstance that she's asked us to accommodate.
okay, yeah, I just hope we can get this scheduled. Seems like we've postponed several times now. Just curious. Thank you, Mayor.
If there is any question about it coming up tonight, we might as well make a motion now to amend the agenda to postpone that to the date that was proposed, and then it'll be part of an amended agenda.
Approve as amended.
Second.
So moved.
Yeah, approve as.
Thank you. Second?
I seconded, yeah.
Second, okay, thank you. Not coming through, okay, we need to be, and also this is very loud tonight. So let's call the roll on the motion to postpone this till the 30th of July for one.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner.
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Lindell. Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
and now a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Yeah, that motion was to,
Apologize, it's really hard.
they proposed the change, staff proposed the change. So then we approved the agenda as amended. So that's
Thank you.
been done.
I'm-
No, it's okay.
Mayor, councilors, I actually would like a vote on that postponement specifically, because it really is a governing body decision to move the appeal, rather than it's not pulling a staff matter so much as a change to a judicial matter.
Move to postpone the land use case to, the
30th.
July 30th.
Second.
So, yes. So the first motion was for both, but we're asked to move them apart. So which part, do we have to redo the full motion?
No, now we're just approving the postpone. To approve the amended agenda.
And Mayor or councilors, I think staff really is only pulling the staff matter. So as amended would just be that. That's fine.
So motion to approve agenda as amended. We already.
Yeah. Yeah, they bundled them together.
Mayor Weber. Approving as amended, and the amended is really the only thing the staff can submit into theirs is staff requests, but we do need a motion to postpone the appeal.
Specifically.
Yes,
Which I thought I made. Did I? I can do it again.
yes.
So now we're back to that. Let's call the roll on that specific postponement.
Counselor Chavez. Counselor Faulkner.
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Lindell. Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And are there things removed from the consent agenda, Madam Clerk?
Yes, from consent, we have pulled item B by Counselor Castro.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to remove item double K as I have an amendment to that resolution.
Okay, so we have
And
D and double K would also be taken off of consent. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Would you call the roll, please?
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia, Counselor Michael Garcia, Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. So with that, Madam Clerk, I believe we do not have presentations tonight. We could go directly to the first item that has been taken from consent.
Item 9B, request for approval of budget amendment resolution bar to move excess revenues collected in the Community Convention Center for FY25 in the amount of $663,768 to FY28 building and structure non-exempt. And here to speak is sorry, I don't know what TSF, sorry. Executive Director, Tourism Santa Fe, Executive Director, Randy Randall.
Let me entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
And Mr. Randall, do you want to tell us about this? And then I'll turn it over to Counselor Castro, who asked to have this taken off of consent.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is just an attempt to move revenues that are in excess of what the budgeted revenue was for the convention center into the building and structural account, which is a capital account, which allows us then to move these dollars into our next fiscal year. And it will be done to support the capital improvement project of the renovation of the second floor of the convention center, the outside patio.
Thank you. Counselor?
Thank you so much, Mayor. Thank you, Director. And I won't take up too much of the council's time, and thank you, Director, for being here. I wanted to know a little bit more about these different funds, and I in particular would like for the public to know the difference between our GRT, our general operating funds, and what specifically goes to lodgers tax and what we can use that lodgers tax on. And in talking to you, I realized that this is actually not coming from lodgers tax. So would you explain how we're funding this?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor, thank you for the question. Yeah, this is actually earned income by the facility, by the Community Convention Center. It's earned through the rental of space, through AV revenues, through cleaning fees, concessionaire fees, hotel rebates, other equipment charges for equipment that is owned by the convention center that the users of the convention center rent. So it's earned income as opposed to gross receipts tax, which is a tax, as opposed to lodgers tax, which funds all other operations of the Tourism Santa Fe, including operating losses of the convention center. There's about between debt service and operating losses at the convention center. After earned income, there's about a $1.5 million loss that the lodgers tax supports.
So Director, I do believe that it is very, very costly to run the Community Convention Center. And I know that you give some free days and some discounts to community organizations. And I would love for you to tell the public and this body a little bit more of how that works. But I'm also interested, I got an accounting that we have significant funds in that lodgers tax. How are we accumulating those funds if we are at a loss?
Mr. Mayor, Counselor, I mean, it's not, lodgers tax is sufficient every year to fund any loss. So it's not like, it just doesn't make enough money through earned income to cover its costs and or the debt service. As far as the fund balance in lodgers tax, we always spend the oldest dollars first so that we don't have an issue with the life of those dollars. So the dollars are always, the fund balance is always new dollars because we're spending the oldest dollars first.
Would you just clarify what you mean by the life of those dollars? We have some restrictions around those. Is that correct?
There are, lodger's tax has to be spent within, I think, a 10-year, I think it's 10
10 years.
period from the time it's collected. So because we're always spending the oldest dollars first, we avoid that conflict of the 10-year life of the dollars.
Thank you, Director. And so I just wanted to clarify exactly where that money was coming from, being that we do have some needs in other facilities. I had originally pulled the contract for La Familia as we were looking for money to replace that roof, but I wanted to make sure that the community understood that these are separate dollars that are coming from the convention center in and of itself, but also want to put us under a little bit of pressure as we haven't been meeting our deadlines as we would like to, that we do need to spend down those dollars within 10 years. Thank you so much, Director.
And Mr. Mayor, Councilor, it's important to remember that the lodger's tax dollars themselves are restricted as to how they can be spent, and that they are dollars that are generated through the use of our hotel facilities by visitors to the city.
And I'll just add as well, short-term rentals do contribute somewhat to that.
Short-term rentals, exactly, and hotel. It's lodging dollars contributed by visitors.
Great. Thank you. No further questions.
Thank you. Other questions? No other questions? Madam Clerk, we have a motion and second, if you could call the roll.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Randall. Madam Clerk, I think the next item was the one just recently pulled by Counselor Garcia.
Item 9KK, consideration of resolution number 2025-TBD, sponsored by Mayor Alan Weber and Counselor Michael Garcia. A resolution establishing the city of Santa Fe as a Vision Zero city and directing the city manager to take action in support of the Vision Zero goal. I do note that Deputy City Clerk Cardenas has sent out the Amendment A that was being spoken about.
Mayor, just a quick question. Is that amendment that we just got via email different than the one that's in the packet?
Apparently it's the same.
It must be the same. I can look in the packet.
Okay, so let's begin with a motion. Anyone
Second.
have a motion to approve and we have a second. Counselor Garcia, you wanted to introduce an amendment. Go ahead, sir. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And so this amendment actually stems from a conversation that BPAC had a couple of weeks after they reviewed the resolution. For those folks that might not be aware, entering into having the city be a Vision Zero community was one of the goals that was outlined by the BPAC strategic plan. And so they're just thankful we're here at this juncture moving forward. But upon review of the resolution, they did have a couple recommendations that don't significantly alter the resolution. In one instance, it has us take a more of aggressive approach. And so with that, I'll just quickly run through the resolution amendments because there are a couple. On page 2, it adds some additional language because it currently says, whereas Vision Zero is a strategy, we added the language, whereas Vision Zero is a strategy with a goal, because ultimately Vision Zero is a goal. Then if you jump to page 3, line 19 and 20, we are striking the language where it says by car because the Target Zero language does not have the language by car. So we want to exactly mirror what the Target Zero language is. And if you continue on, we get into page 5. And so we changed the language. It currently read, now therefore be resolved that the city of Santa Fe, that the governing body hereby honors and supports the adaptation of a Vision Zero strategy to significantly reduce, and we're eliminating the words significantly reduce and including the words eliminate avoidable traffic fatalities. and serious injuries. Current language says 2050, and we're proposing to change it to 2040. And then later on in the resolution, we add a third clause still on page 5, lines 18 and 19. It would be a fourth action that the city manager would take that would provide an annual update covering the activities and accomplishments in support of the Vision Zero goal. And so some context around these recommendations. Some were just very grammatical, technical, but when we get to changing the actual goals and trying to, what we're actually wanting to, again, as I mentioned earlier, be a bit aggressive. Instead of having this goal be accomplished by 2050, we're looking 2040. That gives us 15 years. This, cycling and pedestrian fatalities is a challenge that our community faces more than most communities. I mean, we just had a fatality a couple weeks ago with, the loss of Stephen Bellinger, who was an avid cyclist. He actually was an athlete in college, and we want to ensure that we eliminate any cycling or pedestrian deaths by 2040. And then we added that language of providing an annual update by the city manager. That way it allows for not only the public, but entities like BPAC or Bike Santa Fe, et cetera, to be able to fully understand what the city is doing to work towards these goals and really understand what gaps still are to be accomplished. So that's some context around these amendments that ultimately came from the BPAC group during our meeting a couple weeks ago. So with that, I'll make a motion to approve Amendment A.
Second.
There's a motion to approve Amendment A. Is there,
I have
yeah, go ahead, Councilor.
two quick questions. What is an avoidable, hold on, I gotta get the language back. Eliminate avoidable traffic fatalities. How do you know a traffic fatality is avoidable? Just I'm curious.
Great question. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to defer to the city attorney because our language ultimately recommended was eliminate. And per the city attorney's recommendation, we added the word avoidable. So I'll defer to the city attorney for that.
Mayor, Weber, councilors, the language earlier in the resolution speaks to reducing, and I think the interest was to eliminate. And the idea is that not all traffic fatalities are avoidable. So, for example, I'm personally aware of someone who had a seizure in a car and the car was in an accident. That's not one I think we can avoid with these policies until we have self-driving cars that prevent that. And then that will be avoidable too.
Okay, just curious. And then in both versions, the version that was emailed to us and the version in our packets, there's a recommendation from the city attorney to add cities in front of the wording, provide an annual update covering the city's activities and accomplishments in support of the city's Vision Zero goal.
And Mayor, Weber, councilors, I'm hearing that a draft version may have been uploaded rather than
Okay.
a signed version. So I'm asking that the signed version be replaced. Okay,
Yeah, and I don't
So-
see a signed version. And
I did sign it.
as I read it, I mean, I guess adding cities would be a little bit redundant now that I read it. So I just wasn't sure if that was something you wanted to suggest or not suggest. Sounds like not.
Mayor, Weber, councilors, the version I signed is the version that we should be looking at. Yeah, so I don't remember the prior versions. So we're getting that, I think. Yep, I see a nod.
Okay.
Good. Other questions? So we have a motion in front of us to consider the amendment as it has been proposed. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll? Wait a second.
Should be uploaded. We should have it uploaded before we vote on it.
Okay. I apologize. I thought we had cleared that up.
And Mayor, Weber, councilors, if the red line and the amendment page are both not they're both the non-final.
Let me check.
That should be the version that I think Councilor Garcia was reading from, that you're actually voting on.
The one where I haven't looked at the formal one, but the one where it's in context.
Right, the formal one is the one you're voting on.
Okay, and we have that in the packet?
That's my question. I think.
Okay. Yeah, I just hadn't looked at that one yet.
None of the signed versions are uploaded. I will say though, don't our procedural rules just need the amendment in written form in front of us? So as long as the person introducing the amendment is okay as it's presented in written form, I don't know why we can't move forward with the vote.
Mayor,
Yeah.
I guess the problem is we don't know, we don't have the written one that was signed, the official one in front of us. I don't think it's a big deal to just put this on the table and get somebody upload the correct signed one, because there is a signed version out there in the universe, right?
Mr. Mayor, I think, as Counselor Chavez stated, nothing requires the city attorney's signature. It's in writing in front of us.
Yeah, we've done amendments without signed amendments in front of us, so I'm confused as to why a signature is needed.
A signature is not needed. It just sounds like it's different. It is a prior version that has changes that weren't described. So I don't, that's what Counselor.
Yeah, I think that's
saying.
my issue is I don't know
The one that
what version we're voting on.
the red line, I think, is pretty clear. It has it as its final version. That's what the sponsor for the amendment just read off of.
I'm still looking for, see, now I'm not seeing the amendments in the packet at all.
So, sorry. Mayor, if I may,
Yeah, Karen.
so Amendment A, which is the red line version, is signed at the very bottom by the city attorney and does, I think that's what Councilor Garcia was reading off of. So it has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in it, which does include cities with a yes, apostrophe S.
Yeah, the one I'm looking at, Counselor Garcia, I believe is the one you read to us. It embeds the changes in the body of the resolution.
And again, we don't need the city attorney's signature to approve amendments.
Were you able to find it? Okay. I think we've got it in front of us. If there's any confusion, we can certainly go back over the changes. They're not substantial. Why don't you go ahead and, I think we're good to go if you want to call the roll on this motion for the amendment.
Councilor Lindell. Councilor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Councilor Castro.
Yes.
Councilor Chavez.
Yes.
Councilor Faulkner.
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
We now have a main motion as amended. Is there discussion of the main motion as amended? Madam Clerk, can you call the roll on the main motion as amended?
Councilor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Councilor Lindell. Councilor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Councilor Castro.
Yes.
Councilor Chavez.
Yes.
Councilor Faulkner.
Yes.
Councilor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
thank you. That completes the items that were taken from the consent agenda, Madam Clerk. Why don't you take us to the next item then?
Item 10A, action items discussion agenda. 10A, request for approval of amendment number 3 to price agreement number 21-0484 and number 23-0182 with Subsurface Contracting, Inc. to increase compensation by $13,303,193.75 for a new total amount of 20 million, including NMGRT, and to extend the term of the June 30th, 2031 for priority line. It's gonna be a rough night, sorry. Line replacement for the water division.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve. There's a second. Why don't you for everyone who's watching and listening at home who may not be familiar with what this item does, give us all an overview, please. And make sure you're microphoned. I don't think it's on. I think you're close to it, but it wasn't on.
Sorry, thank you,
All right.
Mayor and Councilors. This contract basically is used by the Water Division to replace outdated and frequently breaking water mains across the city. Basically, what we're doing is extending the term to 10 years. When it was bid, it was originally limited to 4. Erroneously, by purchasing, we noticed that as we were preparing to rebid this spring and put it before legal and purchasing and got that approved to extend 10 years, which will save considerable time and effort on acquiring contract.
Thank you. Are there questions? At this time, no questions. We also have an item A1, but let's take them independently. So this is item 10A. There's a motion on the floor. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll?
Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro, Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
And then there is the,
Item 10A1, which is request for approval of a budget amendment resolution bar in the total amount of $3 million from water capital projects to WIP construction.
To approve.
Second.
is there discussion? This activates it. No discussion. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll on that motion, please?
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez, Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. You're still on.
He has lots of items.
Yes, you're not done. You've got your name attached to a number of these. My apologies for thanking you prematurely. Madam Clerk, 10B, please.
10B, request for approval of amendment number 2 to price agreement number 21-0378 with AAC Construction LLC to increase compensation by $4,373,437.50 for a term for a new total amount of $6 million, including NMGRT, and to extend the term to June 30th, 2031 on the on-call citywide water utility construction and repair. And it is accompanied by number 1, request for approval of a technical budget amendment resolution T-bar in the total amount of $540,398 from water capital projects to WIP construction.
Move to approve.
Second.
I think you were very good when you gave us the last overview. Could you do it again?
Your Honorable Mayor. This contract, and there will also be another one very similar for another contractor, is used by the Water Division primarily to initially fix water main breaks.
Need you to get real close to the mic. There you go.
Excuse me,
You're fine.
Mayor. This contract is used primarily to repair water main breaks that occur in the city, as well as to do tasks that transmission and distribution does not have the staff at current to accomplish.
Thank you. Any questions? We have a motion. Is it for both or just the first part?
Both.
Both. All right. The motion covers both the request for approval of the amendment and the technical budget amendment resolution.
Counselor Chavez, Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. If you would then go to item C.
Item 10C, request for approval of amendment number 4 to price agreement items number 21-0483 and number 23-0183 with AAC Construction LLC to increase compensation by $14,958,124.70 for a new total amount of $20 million, including NMGRT, and extend the term to June 30th, 2031 for priority line replacement for the Water Division.
Motion to approve.
Second.
There's a motion, there's a second. Please.
Honorable Mayor, this is the same item for a separate contractor as the original. It's priority line replacement for the city of Santa Fe.
Thank you. Questions? Would you call the roll, please?
Counselor Faulkner. Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Lindell. Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
thank you. And the next item, please.
Item 10D, request for approval of amendment number 4 to price agreement item number 21-0378 with Subsurface Contracting, Inc. to increase compensation by $3,853 and $125, for a new total contract amount of $6 million, including NMGRT, and extending the term to June 30th, 2031 for on-call citywide water utility construction and repairs.
Move to approve.
Second.
I think this is the same idea as we've had before. I'm reading between the lines.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mayor. It is the same contract with a different contractor for citywide repairs.
Thank you. Any questions? Go ahead and please call the roll.
Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Lindell. Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes,
Motion is approved.
thank you. And thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 10E, request for approval of a budget amendment resolution bar to transfer $1,400,000 from the general fund balance into Public Works Facilities, WIP construction, and WIP design for replacement of the roof and engineering of the HVAC system at the city-owned facility leased to La Familia Medical Center.
Move to approve.
Second.
I don't think Mr. Burnett is with us, but Mr. City Manager, are you in a position for the public's benefit who may not know how this works? Why
I
talk?
believe he was online. Is that true?
Oh, Sam
Mr.
is-
Burnett is online.
Sam is zooming in.
Let me promote him to panelist.
Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors.
For some reason, we cannot hear him.
We also can't see him. Our screens are currently,
So our screens are down tonight, and the only way we can get them back up if we restart the meeting. So unfortunately, they are down.
so is there a chance we could hear him?
Hello?
Might be able to hear
Hello.
him.
Mayor, at finance, this happened and we actually had to have the person call on the phone, and they put the phone next to the mic and they could speak to us, but we could not hear, and the audio was not working in the chamber through the system.
Maybe it will reboot while we're in the executive session, but City Manager, are you familiar enough to give us the overview on this?
I can give you the overview. Yes,
be fine.
Mr. Mayor. I think the governing body is aware we have an agreement with La Familia Medical Center, city-owned property. And they lease that property, and in the lease, we're obligated to maintain the major building systems in the building. And the air conditioning unit and the roof are a major problem. And so we really couldn't wait any longer. So we have recommended moving forward. And at this point, in order to move forward expeditiously, we've asked for a transfer from the general fund balance. We'd certainly love to find other ways to pay for it, but at this point, that's the most expeditious way to get the project done.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Yeah, Counselor Castro.
I just want to add, it is my understanding that La Familia is on a month-to-month lease, so I would love for us to look at that and get into conversation with them for a longer term. Thank you.
Any other questions about this item? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 10F, request for approval of a grant agreement with New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration to hire full-time firefighters and emergency medical technical positions in the total amount of $393,750 with a reversion date of June 30th, 2025.
Motion to approve.
Chief, you want to give us an overview on this item, please?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That is on. This is a legislative action that gives all fire departments in New Mexico the ability or subsidy to recruit new firefighters. First, we have we're able to subsidize their salaries for 4 firefighters the first year. Second year, it pays for 2 firefighters. The third year, it pays for 1. So we're excited to have that opportunity.
Thank you. Other questions? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll?
Counselor Lindell.
Yes.
Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner.
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
10G, request for approval of an intergovernmental transfer of funds in the amount of $871,970.20 to the New Mexico Healthcare Authority for the purpose of participation in the New Mexico Ambulance Supplemental Payment Program with a return revenue of $3,181,211.95 from the federal Medicaid program.
Motion to approve.
It is a
Go ahead.
Sorry, it is accompanied by, 1, a request for approval of a budget amendment resolution bar to increase fire emergency services miscellaneous expenses in the total amount of $1,195,265.
Motion to approve. Second.
There's a motion to approve and there's a second. Once again, I think it's good just to take the opportunity to highlight what the item speaks to and how it comes to us in this form.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It costs the fire department $2,600 for every call that we respond on, considering all of our expenses. That's the city's expenses. This program enables us to draw down federal Medicaid dollars to help supplement those costs.
Thank you. Questions? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Romero Worth.
Yes.
Counselor Castro.
Yes.
Counselor Chavez.
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner.
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia.
Yes.
Counselor Lindell. Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Yes, sir.
If I may, I just wanted to point out that Chief Johnson went to considerable lengths to be part of this group that has been involved in looking at this issue. And the city comes out way ahead because of the work they did. He could have let this slide, but he didn't. And we really had to push it to get it here. He had to push it to get it here. And I really want to acknowledge him publicly for that effort.
Thank you, City Manager.
Thank you. Thanks for doing it. Next item, Madam Clerk.
10H, request for approval of a grant agreement, FTA G-33 with the United States of America Federal Transit Administration, FTA, via the Section 5307 Operating Assistance for Public Transportation Service Program in the total amount of $4,018,120 through September 30th, 2026, accompanied by, number 1, request for approval of a budget amendment resolution bar to allocate proceeds from the FTA Section 5307 grant in the amount of $4,018,120 to FY 25 transit review and expenses.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you for coming tonight. Maybe you could favor us with a quick overview of what this covers and what it's going to do for the city of Santa Fe.
Mr. Mayor and councilors, this funding is for FY 21 and FY 22 formula grant funding. We applied for it in November of 23, so it's taken a while for FTA to finally award it. This funding covers operating expenses, which would be payroll and fringe benefits at the moment through FY 25 Q3. It's $3.3 million, which we will request reimbursement for 50% of that. So we will expend an estimated of 2.2 million of the grant for FY 25, and then 1.8 million will be expended in FY 26.
Thank you. Questions? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll on this motion?
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thanks for doing this. Next item, please.
Item 10I, request for approval of the master agreement with Rio Metro Regional Transit District for city projects with railroad coordination, accompanied by one, request for approval of a budget amendment resolution bar to allocate road impact fees in the amount of $42,792 to complete streets WIP design for St. Michael's Drive Rail Trail Underpass project.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion to approve and there's a second. I don't have a person here to answer questions at the moment unless she was zooming in and we're Zoom unabled. Are there questions on this item? It seems like it's pretty straightforward. I think we're good, Madam Clerk, if you want to call the roll.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Counselor Faulkner, Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 10J, request for approval of amendment number 4 to item number 21-0552 with Bradbury Stam Construction, Inc. to update the scope of work and increase compensation by $174,257.10 for a new total amount of $26 million, including NMGRT, for construction of the airport terminal building and parking lot expansion.
Move to approve.
Second.
There's a motion and there's a second and there's a person who can explain this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. So the amendment number 4 is the final change order for this project, which hopefully is gonna get the ball finished. I think it's something we can all appreciate. It's been a long time coming. A lot of the stuff is credits for portions of the project that we had change orders or outstanding stuff that we didn't necessarily go through with or need, as well as a lot of our allowances that we still had that we credited and moved over to different portions of the project.
Thank you. Questions? I don't have a question. I have a congratulations. I know how hard you all have worked on this and what a great achievement it is in terms of bringing this piece across the finish line, and hopefully soon thereafter to begin the next leg of the improvement process at the airport. So congratulations to you all for a job very well done and very important for the city. Madam Clerk, do you want to call the roll?
Counselor Faulkner,
Yes.
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro,
Yes.
Counselor Chavez,
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Thank you
very
for
much.
being here tonight. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Item 11, matters from the city manager.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. City Manager.
I think it's safe to make our announcement about the airport.
If you believe so, then you should definitely do it.
We were excited today and James, notice. Did James leave? Ah, right before the punchline. Don't go away. Don't go away. I was going to announce that we got word today that American Airlines is tomorrow planning on announcing several route additions, and one of them is a direct flight from Santa Fe to LAX, round trip, one a day. And we're very excited about that. They also apparently are going to do a very short-term 2-week flight to Chicago during the Christmas season. So we are pleased to have that support from American, and these gentlemen, along with the other Jimmy Gunn and the other people at the airport, have been spending a lot of time trying to nurture this relationship, and we seem to have succeeded in doing that. So I wanted to congratulate them for that too.
You appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Any other items for us?
I have nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you. That is good news. Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda, please.
Item 12, matters from the city attorney.
Mayor Weber, councilors, a couple items of good news before I make a recommendation to go into executive session. The first being that we got a preliminary injunction in the AmeriCorps case about at the end of last week. And so that means that we have a more permanent resolution to that matter, and the DEI order is being found to be unlawful, and the way that they're being imposed upon our AmeriCorps program being unlawful. In the Trump administration case regarding immigration, that case has just been appealed to the Ninth Circuit. We already had a preliminary injunction in that case. So we've already been getting notices from that court. And then in terms of IPRA, some good news. We've already seen probably a 20% or more reduction in the numbers of IPRAs this year, we think, based on the crash reports being put online. So right now we're right on track to be about 8,000 for the year rather than 10,800, et cetera. So perhaps more than 20% reduction. So we're really glad to see that happening. Rio Rancho has followed suit and is doing something similar. Other cities are also looking at doing something similar. And with that, I recommend that we go into executive session for 2 matters. In relation to attorney-client privilege discussion of threatened or pending litigation, in particular Melanie Lovato versus the city of Santa Fe, and discussion of disposition of a city-owned property located at 633 and 635 Agua Fria Street. And that's pursuant to subsections H7 and H8 of the Open Meetings Act.
Councilor Romero Worth.
Mayor, I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to the Open Meetings Act, sections 10-15-1H, subpart 7. And what was the other one, city attorney?
Subpart H8.
H8.
Disposition of city-owned property.
Disposition, for discussion of threatened or pending litigation in which the governing body is or may become a participant and involving disposition of city property.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to go into executive session. Is there discussion? Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Counselor Lee Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Michael Garcia,
Yes.
Counselor Lindell, Counselor Romero Worth,
Yes.
Counselor Castro, Counselor Chavez, Counselor Faulkner.
Yes.
Mayor Weber.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
So we will be taking a session to go over those items. In the meantime, if there's any way to reboot our technology so when we get back, that'd be super. Thank you, everybody.